Well, check it out, y'all. We got what you need. We're all living in apartments, condos, vans. Well, dude, even you can have a studio in a box. Yes, we can help you with that right here at Blind Knowledge. We work on your budget, and we figure out your measurements. We'll get you the best sound for the best price. Let me know, 877-237-1143 or at blindknowledge.com.
I see ghosts, specters all around me. Living a star, blazing the dark. One by one, pictures gather round me. Where those moonflowers used to rust no more. Specters gather round here, living a star, blazing the dark. Night by night, stare into the black where moonflowers used to grow.
First, are you tired of feeling burnt out and overwhelmed from constantly putting the needs of others before your own? I have created a sacred space that will be available once a week for 10 weeks to learn, dive deep, and create your boundaries to boost your confidence and self-worthiness. Go to www.krista-luna.com and sign up for the Master Your Boundaries course starting in September 2023. And use the code PARANORMAL to get 30% off today on www.crista-luna.com.
Welcome to another special Paranormal than Normal episode tonight. Yes, folks, another one of our one-on-one brackets. Who dares to take on this creepy bracket? One of the first ones I ever made, actually. Well, I'll tell you the bracket in a minute. First, let me introduce the guest, because suspense, you know? And the guest tonight is Josh from Coldspot Paranormal Investigation and Research, and also from Paranormal Peeps podcast, which go peep and check it out. Come on, you should. How you doing tonight, Josh?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I get to host a bracket. That's always my night. That's always a good night.
Well,
and
I get to fill one out, so makes it interesting.
Yes, it does. And the bracket you are taking on is no easy task for anybody, especially in the paranormal world.
Oh, perfect.
The bracket you're taking on is going to be the original cryptid Christmas bracket, or as we now call it in the summer, a cryptid bracket. So everybody knows the gist of it, if you don't already, there are 32 or 34 cryptids in this bracket, and you're gonna argue your way down in your own head and figure out which one's gonna win them all. You could pick them for any reason you want. Which ones scare you? Which ones interest you? Which ones are just downright creepy? Which ones you're strangely attracted to? I ask people why they choose these things. I just pick it right down.
Fair enough.
But all right, let's get this show started off with the first matchup.
Perfect.
And the first matchup is just I literally randomized these, so I couldn't even have planned these if I tried. But the first matchup is the Yowie versus Ghosts/Spirits.
The Yowie. Oh wow.
I told you I can't make this shit up.
No kidding. Refresh my memory real quick. What is the Yowie?
The Yowie is basically the Australian Bigfoot.
Oh, that's right. Wow. I'm gonna have to go Yowie. I mean, in the sense, I'm in the paranormal field. I love ghosts, but I don't necessarily consider them cryptids in that avenue. It's a mixed bag. Some people think they are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Cryptids to me are unexplained creatures, and ghosts are pretty unexplainable. So,
well, I guess that's true, unless you spend your time investigating them and trying to explain them.
Yeah.
Even then, we can't really explain what we know.
Well, so you want to go with Yowie then?
Yeah, let's go Yowie.
I mean, personally, I would rather be a Yowie investigator than a ghost investigator, so that's one I would have went with too. But because I want to find a Yowie and make it my pet. Come on.
Look, as long as it doesn't have a bunch of huntsman spiders as friends, I'm fine. Those are the only things I don't do.
Or kangaroos. Kangaroos are dicks.
Well, they can be, yes, but they're. I would rather see a kangaroo and be around them than even one huntsman spider.
I agree. I agree 100%. Well, to see what the Yowie's going to face in the second round, this next matchup is kind of a matchup between sea and land. Or I should say sea and sky. Because it's mer people versus thunderbirds.
Ooh. That's an interesting one. Honestly, I love the thunderbird. Like I live in Utah and we're close to Arizona where they claim people have killed a thunderbird. And so, yeah, I'm going to go with thunderbird.
Ooh. And the thunderbird moves on. And if they kill the pterodactyl, how dare they?
I know, right? That's the only thing I laughed at is like, it's a thunderbird. Like, no, that's a pterodactyl.
I mean, it most likely is, but yeah, I'm not getting started on that because then I'll be here for 5 hours discussing that topic. But that means in the next round you're gonna have Yowie versus Thunderbird.
Oh boy, that's gonna be fun.
Trust me, it only gets harder. But the next matchup is going to be the Dover Demon versus Mokele Mbembe.
You know what? I was just talking with the rest of my group about the Dover Demon. And
it's a fun topic.
It's a fun topic. And the fact that it's like a giant cat and we love cats, like it'd be the perfect pet if it didn't try to kill you.
And the fact that it's only been seen really one night.
Yeah, exactly. And like,
one of those.
Yeah, it's one of those. And like cryptids are, if you look at the world of cryptids, they're full of the things that have been seen once. You know, like we saw it one time. It must exist. I mean, we were drunk and it was 2:00 in the morning and it was foggy, but I tell you, we saw it.
Well, I mean, multiple people saw it the same night, actually, supposedly. So,
yeah, they're all the same pub together. But
oh, there you go. There you go.
But yeah, I'll go with Dover Demon.
Oof, and Macaulay Mbembe gets left in the swamps of Africa to sit around and wait.
There's always next time.
Macaulay Mbembe, I have a soft spot for. But that means the Dover Demon is going to face the winner of this matchup. And it's going to be Will of the Wisp / Ghostlights versus good old Champ.
Oh, man. See, now you're taking my affinity for lake monsters and putting up against the paranormal. And man, that's I tell you what though. If there was an old Nintendo game back in the day, it was called Wizardry, and like it's a JRPG, and it had will-o-wisps as one of the monsters in it, and I loved fighting that monster, so I'm going to go with will-o-wisps.
Ooh, not the way I expected that to go. I don't think Will of the Wisp / Ghostlights has ever made out the first round of this, so color me surprised, but they will face the Dover Demon in the next round. But that means the next matchup, I couldn't even make this shit up once again. The next matchup is Reptilians versus Elwedritsch.
Okay. What is the last one?
Elwedritsch is a German cryptid. It's a chicken-like creature that has antlers and has scales instead of feathers.
Oh my gosh.
I was looking for some random ass cryptid to throw in this thing, and that one I came across, I was like, yes. That's
like a weird, strange chimera.
I was gonna say it's a chimera, yeah.
Yeah. It also kind of reminds me of like a cockatrice, or a really messed up jackalope.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like a jackalope, just a chickalope.
Yeah, chickalope. Yeah, exactly. You know what? I love German stuff. I love German food. I've been to Germany. We're gonna go with the German crazy chicken.
Oh, you lucky bastard! You've been in Germany. That's my dream.
I've been to a few other countries too.
When the kids are grown up and we can afford to travel, that'll be a different story. But it ain't no joke.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. I've traveled to 9 countries, 7 as an adult, and never once for pleasure.
Oh, you're one of those workers.
Yep, one of those guys.
All right. Well, that means that Elwedritsch, or however I freaking say German things, will be facing one of these two. And I'm telling you this, for a paranormal investigator, this is going to be the matchup from hell. It's good old Bigfoot versus shadow people.
Oh. That's brutal. Because it could be, yeah, wow. People love Bigfoot. People absolutely love Bigfoot.
Of course they do. We're going to be doing a Bigfoot movie bracket on the show eventually.
Nice.
47 Bigfoot movies exist apparently.
Wow, I had no idea.
Me either. I honestly was worried I was going to get enough for like a 32 bracket, and then I saw a list of 47 on IMDb or Ranker or something. I was just like, oh my God, yes.
Well, I'll tell you what. My wife has had an interesting potential experience with Bigfoot. So we're going with Bigfoot.
And thankfully, none of them are Bigfoot erotica movies. Just saying that now, thankfully.
Oh, that's really good because that'd be awful. And why?
There is, if you put Bigfoot erotica into Amazon, you'd be surprised how many results come up. Just saying. So
you could do your own bracket on that too.
But then I'd have to read it all, and I'm good on that.
Yeah, don't blame me.
Hey, Brian, what's going on, brother? Glad to see you watching. But all right, so that means that Elwedritsch, my German's off today. Usually I could say that better. Is going to be facing Bigfoot in the next round. But this next matchup is kind of weird as well. It's everybody's favorite villain, vampires, versus the Whoopertinger.
Oh my gosh. What is you're refresh my memory? What is the Whoopertinger?
The Whoopertinger is another German cryptid. It has the head of a rabbit, the body of a squirrel, the antlers of a deer, and the wings and occasionally the legs of a pheasant.
Does it fly?
I mean, I couldn't tell you really if it flies or not.
Wow.
I know that Elwedritsch does not fly because its wings are not made for it.
Yeah, but a Whoopertinger's would. That's interesting. You know what? Here's the interesting thing about this is I would say that if you put those two against each other, because one is a crazy weird chimera, I bet you would win. But if it got bit, you'd then have a vampiric Whoopertinger. And that would be even scarier than just one on its own.
I'm making that into a freaking movie someday. Vampiric Whoopertinger.
But you know what? I'm going to stay with the German routing here. We're going to go Whoopertinger.
Hey, Nicole, appreciate you sharing this out. And sounds like your ex-wife. God help you, buddy. If that was the case, Brian. God help you. But let's go. You want to keep it German? We're going to keep it German. And to find out what the Whoopertinger is going to face, though, we have to do our first play-in matchup of this bracket. And it's the Flatwoods Monster versus the Lizard Man of Skateboard Swamp.
Wow. We are getting into some weird, obscure ones.
If I'm pulling cryptids, I'm pulling the obscure ones.
Well, you got it, right? Because they're just more fun.
And there really is only so many known ones that are like well known.
Yeah. Isn't the Flatwoods Monster, isn't that the bipedal, like a
alien? It was a triangular head alien. I think its head looked like a spade.
Yeah. We're gonna go with that guy because he's just weird and You might be able, if you kill one, you might actually be able to use it to dig its own grave.
I think I kind of picture it would have a floppy spear, but
yeah, but you just wait for rigor mortis to set in. It'll be a stiff spade, and you can go to town.
And why are UFOs so popular now? Because why wouldn't they be? But UFOs are awesome, and the government admits they're real, so that kind of adds a little like told you to everybody who was a non-believer for all those years,
right? They're finally admitting that they exist.
I mean, the government's probably hiding something else to admitting they exist, but let's look at the positive. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But you voted in the Flatwoods Monster in round 1, but in this last matchup on this side of round 1, the Flatwoods Monster is facing Dogman.
Oh man, facing the Dogman, which is actually a cryptid I learned about just this year. Believe it or not,
I find it hard to believe, but okay.
Yeah, I know. Being in the paranormal, you'd think that I would.
Oh man, I've
more of the stuff, but man,
I've been hearing about Dogman since at least 2015, 2016. Like, podcast alone, like just so many podcasts talking about Dogman like back then.
Yeah, it's funny though, because like it's not a Western thing; it's more of like a Midwest, like Central U.S.
cornfields. It's cornfields and it's freaking dense forest. That's all it is.
Yeah, and I grew up in an area that didn't have dense forests. We had cornfields, but we didn't have dense forests. And besides, they would die in the winter anyway. So I grew up in North Dakota.
Well, I'm not going to get into the cave systems in the Hollow Earth, and that's where they live. But that's where they live. So, yeah. Which way you want to go, Dogman or Flatwoods Monster?
I want to go Dogman.
How can you not?
Right? It's just that weird, crazy one.
And that means Dogman is going to face the Whoopertinger in the next round.
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
But that brings us to the other side of round 1, which starts off with a battle between countries, basically, because it's the Jersey Devil versus the Owlman of Cornwall, England.
And they're like pretty much the same thing.
They're
close.
The Jersey Devil is a lot more of a amalgamation of hell than the Owlman is.
Though, I'd like to think that if one of these was going to exist, it would be the Jersey Devil. Like that. And it was for our podcast, it was the first cryptid we ever covered. And it was so much fun to cover that thing. So yeah, we're gonna go Jersey Devil.
That thing has to be immortal. It's been around since the 1700s, for God's sake.
Right?
And it's supposed to be only one, so it's not breeding. Though the rule of one doesn't exist in this world at all, so I don't understand that 100%. But okay. But to see who the Jersey Devil is going to face, it's going to be Rakes versus the Wendigo. Rakes are also known as pale crawlers if you don't realize what I'm talking about here.
Yeah. The interesting thing is the Wendigo is a lot like the
Skinwalker.
Well, it's close. The oh my gosh, holy cow. I almost messed it up. The Queequaquezqua.
Isn't that just the Native American term for it? Oh no, that's the Alaskan thing, right?
No, they're close. So they're very, very close. But the difference is in the Abenaki tribe, they believe that there are both male and female versions of it.
Oh. I don't want to run into those two things mating in the woods, just saying.
Right? It's just awful.
If Hank Hill went blind seeing his mother get it on, he'll definitely go blind seeing those things get it on. Jesus.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going to go Wendigo.
It is one of the most mysterious cryptids out there.
Definitely.
But that means the Wendigo is just going to face the Jersey Devil in round 2, and I can't make this up.
That's just a weird grouping.
It's completely random. That's the best part. And I thought about randomizing it differently every show so no one gets the same bracket. But then I was like, no, these matchups just work so well.
Right.
But the next matchup, though, is going to be the Loveland Frogman versus the Loch Ness Monster.
Oh my gosh. You know, I just found the Loveland Frogman today.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Dude, you need to listen. You need to listen to Monsters Among Us podcast. You'll learn so much.
I think I do. Because like we study so much in the ghost category of things. We don't get into the cryptids a ton. We stay in the the ghostly world.
See, that's the thing with paranormal investigation groups. It's just so many of them don't go into the cryptids unless they are like a Bigfoot group.
Oh,
Like they don't go into the cryptids usually, and it's just like every time we have a paranormal investigating, we have a paranormal investigative team on my other podcast at the end of every month, or we try to. It doesn't always work out, but we try to. And every time that's the question I ask is, do you do any cryptid searching? And the answer is always, well, we want to, but we haven't yet.
well,
I'm just like sitting here like, why?
but if you're counting skinwalkers and the cryptid category, then we do. I mean, we live in skinwalker country. So we come across those actually on a handful of occasions.
Really?
Just not in the physical form, but more of the ethereal, because they actually go through both planes, that will just mess you up in itself.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure most people that listen to the show have seen Secret Skinwalker Ranch by now.
Yeah.
But which way you want to go? You want to go Frogman or Loch Ness Monster?
You know, I'm going to go with the classic. I mean, Nessie. That has been like the number one cryptid in my heart for a long time.
Oh, I agree. It's one of the first ones I learned about. So
yeah, me too.
Gotta go with it, kind of in a way. It'd be dishonorable not to. But this next matchup has another cryptid that I guarantee you never heard of, and it's gonna be the Dungavenhooter versus ABCs or Alien Big Cats.
Okay, you got to tell me the first one, because what the heck?
A Dungavenhooter, or as we like to call them on this podcast, a cocaine crocodile.
Aha.
Is basically a crocodile that doesn't have a mouth, so it basically jumps on its victims and pulverizes them into fine powder and snorts them through its large nostrils. You can't make this shit up.
No kidding. Where is this thing living?
This was a fearsome critter, one of the American pioneer stories they told.
Uh-huh.
Like the Cactus Cat and Paul Bunyan and all that stuff.
Okay. You know, I would think that if you got a cocaine crocodile running around killing people, I mean, like that, like crocodiles and alligators in themselves are terrifying enough. But now you got one that's not going to swallow you whole. It's just going to beat you into a bloody pulp and then snort you. That's horribly terrifying. And that one's got to go on.
I think it might have won the original, if I'm not mistaken, just because everybody loves saying cocaine crocodile so much.
Right?
And I mean, gonna play some. I would have Elton John Crocodile Rock on freaking repeat while that thing's around. But that means the Loch Ness Monster will face the Dungavenhooter in the next round.
Ooh.
Which I love how German that sounds when it's American.
Right?
I mean,
it
might be
German immigrants.
I was gonna say it might be German immigrants that did it, but this next matchup, you really can't get much different than these two. It's Black Dogs / Hellhounds versus the Goat Man, such as the Popelik Monster.
Wow. That is an interesting one.
Told you I can't make this shit up.
Nope.
I did make it up, but I can't.
Right? You just didn't put them together against each other. You know what? Hellhounds are like terrifying, and I hope that they don't get like they were in the TV show Supernatural, which is even worse.
Invisible? Yeah, that'd be horrible.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's, I mean, they are kind of invisible to begin with. Like those are another set of creatures that are supposed to be extraplanar, moving in between planes of existence.
Oh, yeah, they'd have to be.
Exactly. So yeah, we're going hellhounds.
And the goat man gets left to hold his axe in the alley and stay there. But to see who's going to face Black Dog / Hellhounds, we have a battle between different countries, basically. Because it's the Mothman. Well, actually, the Mothman's kind of international at this point. But
Yeah.
it's the Mothman versus the Selkie.
The Selkie. That's the Irish one, right?
Yes.
Like a siren.
It's an Irish, kind of like a skinwalker. It's a seal that can turn into a human. There was I know about them mainly because I read a book about them in school. Like I read like a fiction book about like a girl that was being seduced by a Selkie.
Wow, that's scary.
And like her brother's the only one that caught on and like tried to warn everybody, but no one believed him, of course.
We actually covered them. We did an episode on Irish folklore, and Selkies were in there. And honestly, those things are terrifying.
Yep, they are.
And you know what? They're going to move on.
Sorry, Mothman, you get to stay in Point Pleasant.
Yeah, and you can stay over there.
Oh, I mean, actually, I interviewed a guy in my podcast who saw the Mothman about a half hour to 45 minutes from my house near Springfield, Massachusetts.
Wow.
In the 90s.
So recently, well, not recently. Well, sort of.
Sort of. It's been seen in Chicago during the Trump time, and Trump even talked about it on a conference. But
it just flies wherever it wants. I mean, if you're that big and you got big wings, you can fly wherever you want to go.
Well, there's more than one. That's definitely the case. But
they got to breed and they got to feed. So
exactly. So hold your dogs inside. But
exactly.
That means Selkies will face Black Dog / Hellhounds in the next round. But the next matchup is Mirrored Men versus the Mongolian Deathworm.
Okay, I haven't heard of Mirrored Men. It sounds like someone that lives in a mirror.
No,
like going to take you out.
No. No. The Mirrored Men got famous on the Monsters Among Us podcast. The host's friend called in his tale with them in one of the first episodes, and then all of a sudden, all these other people start calling in like the similar stories, and it became like a phenomenon on that show.
Okay,
but it's always three men, usually dressed in like black suits and like top hats, like they're 50, 60 years out at the right time, and they always walk in synchronicity and unison. If one moves its arm, the others move their arms, and when you see them, you lose hours of time usually.
Interesting. That sounds very kind of spooky in itself.
It is. I mean, one of the fans of the show is that the musician also wrote a song about it as well.
Huh. You know what? I think as much as I like the Mongolian Deathworm, just the name of it itself, right? I'm gonna have to go with Mirrored Men. I think from like the creepy factor, that they got that, and yeah, that's just so strange.
Well, the funny thing about the Mongolian Deathworm is one of the many brackets I made today was the 90s monster movies bracket. And guess what movie was on there in multiple? Tremors.
Oh, yeah.
So,
that was such a fun movie.
I am not a fan of it. I think it's so stupid, but
they're supposed to be stupid. That was the best part about those movies.
Well, speaking of stupid, and you're going to say this is true, to finish this off, we have to do the last play-in matchup in order to figure out the last matchup of round one. And this play-in matchup could be considered stupid because it's the Greys versus Skinwalkers.
So aliens versus Skinwalkers.
it's a movie I want to see, but yes.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting movie. It'd be like Nope versus
Oh, don't use Nope. Don't use Nope. That movie's trash.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
I love Jordan Peele's movies, but that movie is trash.
Man, I'm gonna have to take the hometown favorite, and I'm gonna have to go with Skinwalkers.
Which means Skinwalkers are going to go into the final matchup of round 1, and they're going to be facing Chupacabras.
Oh, geez. Wow. That's not the fair. That's just not fair. They both deserve to go on. They really do. I've seen some really crazy videos associated with the Chupacabra that it just makes it look so much more viable as a thing that exists.
I would. There's 2 different kinds of Chupacabras. One's mange dogs. The other one's extraterrestrial exist.
Yeah. As much as I love the Chupacabra, I'm just gonna have to play hometown favorite one more time and just go with the Skinwalkers because one, they're both kind of dogs in itself. And yeah, it's got to go with the hometown.
Well, that's going to bring us to round 2 now.
Oh boy.
You've gone through all the cryptids. Now you got to pick your winner out of the ones you picked already. And the first matchup that you created was Yowies versus Thunderbirds.
Oh man. Let's see. Yowies and Thunderbirds. You know, as much as I do love the Thunderbird and the pterodactyl size animal that it is, I'm going to have to go with the Yowie.
Is it wrong that Land Down Under is playing in my head right now?
No, that's like perfect. That's like the perfect song to go with that matchup.
Which, to see who the Yowie's going to face in the quarterfinals, you have the Dover Demon versus Will-o'-the-Wisp / Ghostlights.
Oh, man. You know, I tell you what, like, I look at this as like the battle of potential pets. And if you think of like ghost will-o'-wisps, like fireflies, like you could easily catch them in a big jar and keep them on your hand.
I do have a couple videos of ghost lights in my house.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So I'm going to go with will-o'-wisps.
Which means Will-o'-the-Wisp will face the Yowie in the quarterfinals. But that's going to bring us to a very interesting matchup. Because it's the first of your 2 German versus normal creatures matchups. And it's the Elwedritsch versus Bigfoot.
Oh, man. Let's see. So we got a Chimera versus Bigfoot. You know, I'm just going to have to go with the Chimera on this one. Poor Bigfoot's getting left in the dark. But everybody loves him. So, like, Bigfoot will feel loved even though he doesn't make it past the...
He doesn't want to be loved. He wants to be left alone. But that means to see what the Elwedritsch is going to face, you have to choose between Wolpertingers and Dogmen.
Oh, the flying crazy thing versus Dogman. Oh, I make it hard on myself. I really do. But you know what? I'm gonna have to go Dogman.
Which means Dogman is going to move on to face the Elwedritsch. And I'll never say that right. And I gotta get a Google pronunciation of that. But that means that quarterfinal matchup is set. Which brings us to the other side of round 2. And it's the Jersey Devil versus the Wendigo.
Oh man. Like neither one of these things you'd ever want to meet in a dark alley or in a lit alley for that matter.
In the woods. That's where you're going to meet them.
Well, yeah, you're gonna meet them in the woods.
Well, unless you're stupid enough to feed a Wendigo like the kid in Antlers. But yeah.
I mean, you could. But you know, I'm gonna go with Jersey Devil.
Ooh. Almost didn't see that coming. Almost. And to face the Jersey Devil, oh my God, it's gonna be good old Nessie versus the Dungavenhooter.
Oh, I think the crocodile is just gonna have to say goodbye from this bracket, and poor Nessie's gonna move on. Which I don't know if you heard or not, but they believe it's dead.
I have not heard that, but it can't be dead because it has offspring.
They say it. They I watched a whole episode on them looking for its body. It was really good. That was a really good documentary.
There's so many of them though. It's offspring. They've seen multiples together.
I know.
I mean, maybe the mama got old and died or something, but I guess it's possible. But
yeah.
But you would think she got to the ocean for that. But okay, that's probably why they can't find the body. It's probably in the ocean.
Probably.
But that means that the next matchup, because Loch Ness Monster will face the Jersey Devil in the quarterfinals.
Ooh.
But the next matchup is going to be Black Dog / Hellhounds versus the Selkie.
Wow. Both of these would be terrifying in many, many different ways to run across. But
I mean, at least Hellhounds are going to try to make you fall in love with them and then seduce you back into the sea.
Right? Which makes it even worse. Like, they just want to tear you apart. But, like, the Selkie's just like a bad relationship waiting to happen.
Yes, it is.
So we're going to go with the Selkie.
And to see what the Selkie's going to face in the last matchup in round 2, you have Mirrored Men versus Skinwalkers.
Oh, man. You know, as much as I love the Skinwalkers and the history of it and the affinity to my Utah that I live in, I'm going to have to go Mirrored Men.
I'm telling you, just Google Mirrored Men special, Monsters Among Us, and it'll come up.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do that.
It's a whole episode dedicated to calls about the Mirrored Men. It's all people telling their own stories, too. That's the creepy part. But that brings us to the quarterfinals. And
getting close.
And you got some hard matchups here, I'm telling you. But actually, this first one I don't think is too hard, but that's me. But it's the Yowie versus Will-o'-the-Wisp / Ghostlights.
Yeah, I don't think that's a hard one either. I think the poor little Will-o'-Wisps has made it as far as it's going to go. And I think the Yowie is it's just too powerful for it. They just don't match up.
Which, I mean, that's why I said it was easy. But yeah. The next one, I mean, to me it'd be easy, but to you, I don't know. It's the Elwedritsch versus the Dogmen.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just see this crazy jackalope ugly thing running around.
And I see a dog man running in, freaking eating it. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. Like, I've grown up with like seeing jackalope heads everywhere, and I would just love to see one of these chimeras.
You can. There's one permanently on display in a museum in Germany.
That's perfect. I'm going back to Germany, just to go see that. So, you know, I'm going with the chimera. I mean, I know the poor dogmen, they're like, you have an affinity for them, but they're just hide away.
Germans have interesting cryptids, so I'm not going to complain about that.
They do. They got some scary versions of evil
in the country
around.
In the country that Grimm Brothers fairy tales came from, I'm not surprised.
Right?
So,
That's some scary stuff.
so that means this side of the semifinals will be the Yowie versus the Elwedritsch. I can't say it. I can't pronounce that tonight. But on the other side, though, the first quarterfinal matchup is the Jersey Devil versus the Loch Ness Monster.
Oh, man, I kind of love those. I love both of them, honestly. And I hate to say it, but I'm gonna move the Jersey Devil on. I love Nessie, I really do. But I'm gonna move the Jersey Devil on.
Hashtag Nessie's not dead.
just hiding under the lock somewhere.
But that means that the Jersey Devil is going to face one of these two in the other side of the semifinals, and it's going to be the Selkie versus the Mirrored Men.
Yeah, like I said, I love the Irish folklore. I love the crazy, like, succubus almost style of the Selkie. And we're gonna move the Selkie on.
Yeah, well, the Mirrored Men had their day.
They did. They got a whole podcast episode associated to them. They're winning already.
They might even have a second episode. I'm not sure. It's been a while. He's in like the 15th season or something. So there's a lot of episodes.
He's got some time.
He's done a lot of episodes. So, but he's been on since like 2016, 2017 when I discovered him. So
before podcasting was cool.
Podcasting has been cool since Mark Maron and Kevin Smith started doing it freaking 15 years ago. But in my opinion, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't get into it until like that time anyway, but still. That means the first semifinal matchup you have, and folks, there's only 4 matchups left.
Getting close.
It's going to be the Yowie versus the Elwedritsch.
Oh man. The little Chimera dude like got past some pretty tough fights. But I just don't think he's gonna get past the Yowie. Like that thing would it's gonna put it on a spit and cook it over a fire.
Over the bobby. It's gonna cook it on the bobby.
So we're going Yowie.
Australian cryptids and all, But
right.
That means the other side of the semifinals is going to be the Jersey Devil versus the Selkie.
Oh man.
Which I never saw either of these make it this fucking far, so I'm just saying.
See, that's what happens when you bring people on that just don't think normally anymore.
That's why I love it though, because I don't want to see the same winner every freaking time. It'd be boring for me to do it then.
Yeah.
I like the different outcomes. It makes it interesting because everybody thinks differently.
Exactly. And you know what? I'm going to move the Selkie on. I just think that's just a bad relationship waiting to happen.
Cue Beyonce's Gold Digger.
Yeah, it's a little worse though.
Little, not much. But that means before you get to decide who the winner is, you get to do the matchup to see who's third and fourth place.
Ooh, there we go.
And your third and fourth place matchup is between the Elwedritsch. Okay, I think I got closer that time than I ever did.
I think so.
Versus you said to yell when you do German. You have to yell the last part. But it's the Elwedritsch versus the Jersey Devil.
Oh man. Yeah, I think, honestly, that little chicken, crazy lizard, rabbit thing, I think it's going to come in third. I think he's going to beat out the Jersey Devil.
I actually was writing that in the opposite way because I didn't know which way you were going with that. But okay. Well, now you get to decide your winner.
Oh, man.
And the finals for this version of the cryptid bracket is the Yowie versus the Selkie, which is a matchup I'm pretty sure both these went out in the first round of the original, for fuck's sake. So I never saw this coming.
So. Here's how I see this going down. If they were to meet in some magical way, I honestly think that the Selkie would end up seducing the Yowie.
I mean,
And
I guess if they could shed their skin and turn human, they might be able to shed their skin, turn them into a furry monkey.
exactly.
I mean,
Like,
I don't know, but
and
I
they're
mean,
just gonna lure
I-
the poor beast into the sea and eat it. Like this, I think the Selkie would just win.
there's an animated movie on. It was on Hulu months ago called Cryptid Zoo. It literally was about a zoo that this organization built to keep cryptids in to keep them safe.
Oh, jeez.
But I mean, the whole story is basically about a young cryptid boy who is not a known cryptid, but it's basically all about his caregiver, mother, wherever she is, trying to find a place for him, and you have to watch it. It's fucking weird as shit. But,
No kidding.
But and I mean, the opening scene is just two cryptids having relations. So yeah, it's not for kids. But
No kidding. That's
I kept having to pause because my damn kids kept coming out. I was like, God, come on. Like, go stay in your room for now. Like you can play out here later. But the first match so is it gonna be Yowie or Selkie? What's it gonna be?
It's gonna be Selkie. Selkie's gonna win. He's gonna seduce the Yowie into the water, eat the Yowie, and come out victorious.
Insert Dropkick Murphy's music. But
right.
I'm surprised they haven't done a song about the Selkie actually, but oh well.
Oh, I am sure like one of the Irish bands have done it.
Well, let's find about. Okay, yeah, there's a song called Selkie by Blackbriar that came out 2 years ago.
Wow.
There's a song called The Grey Selkie by Lady Masery that came out in 2012. There's a song called Selkie by Tori Amos and it came out in 2014. Selkie Bride by Black Francis in 2005. So yeah, there's plenty.
Oh yeah,
there's more.
Yeah, it becomes a popular topic.
I might just download some of these songs and check them out. But so your final four were in fourth place, the Jersey Devil himself, not the hockey team, folks, not the hockey team. In third place, the Elwedritsch, and in second place, the Yowie, and in first place, the Selkie. This final four is unfucking believable, people. Woo! Like, oh my God, I couldn't see this coming, and I freaking love it. So there we go. That's freaking awesome.
That's great.
Well, folks, Josh will be back in a couple weeks to do a 3-on-1 bracket, horror movie bracket. But until then, Josh, hopefully some of these people listen to your. Well, okay, this won't be releasing by then, probably. Well, maybe we'll see. But where can they find you? Where can they find your team, your podcast? Just promote yourself to the fullest.
Yeah, you can find the Paranormal Peeps podcast on any of the podcast hosting networks. So Spotify, Apple, Google, all of that stuff. We're listed everywhere. And you can find our team. You can find us on Twitter and on Facebook at Coldspot Paranormal Research or CPR Paranormal.
Well, there you go, folks. And of course, those links will be also tagged in the description of the podcast if you want to just click and go. And you can find me on, let's see, long list, Facebook as Jeremy Bryant, or you can find me on Parapost Network, where this streams on Facebook. And they're always looking for new podcasts to come on, paranormal or not. And they're always also can find me on Uncensored, Unapologetic, and Untamed U-Cubed Podcast Collective Facebook group. You can find me on Twitter and the Gram as that Juggalo Bastard. You can find me on TikTok as that Juggalo Bastard Podcast. And you can find me on YouTube as Paranormal New Normal. Or you can find me streaming on YouTube live as Blind Knowledge Network. Because all knowledge was blind until the government admits Bigfoot exists. But until next time, we want to thank Josh for coming on because it's been a fun fucking show. I've enjoyed the hell out of it. And I can't wait for the horror movie one, which we'll talk about this in a second. But
yeah,
have a good night, everybody. Remember, like and subscribe wherever you're listening or watching. Have a good one.